and every one of you sitting in the seats before me. Why don't we go back to our first day in algebra class? You were staring blankly at the board as you saw letters and numbers in the same place for the first time. And believe me, we all asked ourselves the exact same question. When will I ever use this in real life? And sure, you might not need to know how to solve that equation or know who died at the Battle of Chancellorsville, or even remember that ATP is energy. But what I can say is that the most important lessons I learned at Charlotte High didn't come from the countless textbooks in my room. They came from my firsts with all of you. Although not all of these experiences seemed positive at first. Let me take you back to an October night across the river. You're at Port Charlotte High School. It's the end of the second quarter. The scoreboard reads 0 to 14. If you're on our side of the field, you could feel the gravity of the score weighing down on the hearts of the crowd. But refusing to allow the student section to falter was our quarterback. On that night, one person decided to reignite a lost spark in a crowd. One person's dedication changed the course of the entire game. Because on that night, one person showed me the fire that we all hold in our hands. Though sometimes we forget this power that we carry. Because there are days when you're not going to win the game, despite how loud the crowd cheers. These years may have yielded you a few first rejections too. When you didn't win the game, when you got that dreaded college rejection letter or that promposal that just never came. Even in these moments when you fell flat on your face, you forced yourself to stand back up. But you can ask Chris Dillon about that. Take these moments of failure and use them to fuel your future. What we learned in high school does matter. We learned how to be people. We learned who we are. And we learned to celebrate that diversity. It was in the moments that you didn't realize you were learning, that you were actually learning the most. Steve Jobs once said, to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs in the square holes, the ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them, but the one thing that you can't do is ignore them. Because they change things. They push the human race forward. And while some may see them as the crazy ones, we see genius. Because the ones who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do. Shortly, each and every one of you will walk across this very stage and take your first steps into adulthood. Your first steps into the rest of your lives. And whether you choose to attend college, kickstart your career, or serve our country, you all have the power to make change. And while I learned so much from our firsts together, our lasts have been important too. Our last day of class, our last high school dance, our last time that we'll all be in the same room. Reflect on our last 4 years. Remember what you learned and embrace all the firsts that are to come. Because tonight is our final lecture, our last class. And I hope you took good notes, Tarkins, because the test is going to be for the rest of our lives. Thank you and good luck.